Welcome, everyone. Thanks for coming. My name is Tony Gongora. I'm from the Office of Curriculum and Instruction. And with me tonight, I have one of our guidance counselors and our college liaison, Adriana Medina, and the owner and founder of the company that we're using for our SAT prep program, Thiana Vasquez. So I'm going to give it over to Thiana, and she can tell you a little bit about what the district is doing with our partnership with NJ Test Prep and what their company is going to be providing our students.
Thank you, Tony. I appreciate it. Hello, everyone. I'm really excited for tonight because in addition to in-person sessions that I've had with guardians and students, tonight we're going to be able to really go over who we are at NJ Test Prep, what we offer, what we've been able to do with HCST students, and give you a little bit of a run through of what the digital SAT is, which I've been hearing a lot from students and guardians who have reached out to us. It's a huge shift. They've gone from paper to digital, and there's a lot of questions. And I hope that tonight's session answers that questions, kind of eases any stress or worries about the test, and gives you and us full confidence with your students, your child's score success and improvement. So I'm going to go ahead and start, there we go, with our presentation. Thank you, Tony. So this is the agenda for tonight. The NJ Test Prep brand, right? Who we are, what we offer, what makes us different from other test prep companies. The DSAT breakdown, which we're a data-driven company, so this is a lot of the feedback we've been getting. What is the difference? What is this test? Why is it so hard? What is Module 1? What is Module 2? So I'm going to cover all of that as quickly as I can, but thoroughly. The student experience, right? What does it feel like to take a course with us? And then questions at the end. So we're going to be able to cover all of that. There will be time for that, of course. So thank you for being here tonight, and let's go ahead and get started. So this is our brand slogan: your child is unique, their path to college acceptance should be too. So our curriculum and pacing charts are never linear. It's not just one way for every child. It's different, right? And that's why for those of you that have worked with us before, we do ask for PSAT scores or any previous SAT scores, because that's our foundational diagnostic to get started with the student. Where did you start from? And we look for two things. We look for strategy. What is your experience with strategy with the SAT, and your foundational skills? We look for both. If you want to get to know us a little more, please check out our website. It's very simple, njtestprep.com, and that gives a full view of our courses, what we offer, and also like our contact info if you'd like to do that. But it is unique for every single student. Every student, you'll see in a little bit, has access to personalized support and personalized data. And personalization, a curated approach, is exactly the core of who we are. All right, so what makes us different from any other test prep company? First things first is the diagnostic process, right? So we start with your child's PSAT score, SAT score. We have a lot of questions in the first course to really get to know any students. We do a lot of polls, and we look at that data to begin with. We kind of consider that like how we start each class, right? We ask questions to personally get to know students. And then one of the first activities that we do is we have students take a full practice test, and it's from College Board, and we teach students how to score the SAT. And the reason why we do that is because the SAT is not like, your English class or your math class, right? It's not out of 100. There's raw scores, and then there's scaled scores. So we go ahead and go over that with students. So they take the test, right? They get that experience, and then we go over how to score it. Another reason why that's really important is because that way students understand how many questions they have to get right to get the answer, to get their targeted score. So, for example, if a student says, I need to get a 500 to get into Montclair, or I need to get a 600 to get into this score, to get this scholarship, what does that really mean on the SAT? How many questions do you have to get right? This isn't their average test. Some students have never been exposed to a test like this. It's not just try your best to get 100. No, try your best to get the score that you need. And the reason why we start with that is that it empowers the student. You no longer have to get a perfect score. You have to get the score that you need. And so we teach students what that looks like. Subscore sheet is actually included in this presentation, which I'm sure will be sent out to you later, and you will have access to what that looks like. By the way, all of this is also available on collegeboard.org. They are the writers of the SAT, so it is the core of our curriculum, because why not, right? Why wouldn't we work with the writers of the SAT? So we do go over that with the student. It is tricky for some because it is a very tedious process. But it is some of the best data the students can get because it's their own data, and now they understand how many questions they need to get right to get their goal score. In addition to this paper version that we start with, towards the end of the course, we also do a full practice test using Blue Book. Blue Book is new for a lot of us. It is the app that is used on test day. So the fact that they do that with us also takes a bunch of stress off, because they don't have to do that just before the test or do it alone. With the test being digital, College Board wants students to bring their own devices, although they do offer devices there, but they do want them to bring their own devices with the Blue Book app already downloaded. You don't have to worry about it. We're going to take care of it. We're doing it with the student, and they're going to have their first Blue Book experience with us. So also take stress away from the student. Instead of doing Blue Book for the first time on test day, they're doing it with us. Then we're going over the data. We're going over things that they, the extra tools on Blue Book, right? Because there's a highlighter, there's a calculator, which we're going to get into later. There are a lot of different things that students are not familiar with, and they have that experience with us. So that is the first thing that really makes us different from other companies, that we sit with every single student and make sure that they are comfortable before test day with the actual core of the test. All right, the next one, we offer a free subscription to Quill.org. Quill.org is a reading, writing, and grammar platform. Every student is expected at the beginning of the course to take a Quill diagnostic test. This is a little bit of everything, punctuation, tense, things of that sort. Depending on that result, every single student gets a study guide depending on the results of that diagnostic test. Another example of a curated experience. No one gets the same study guide. You get a study guide based on how you did a diagnostic test. Halfway through the course, you take a post-test. And there your data updates all over again. In class, we go over growth. We go over, not having growth. And then students get a brand new study guide. We recommend, if you really want score improvement in the grammar section, that this program is used every single day for at least 15 minutes. That is how we guarantee score growth. Another thing that I will make very clear to everyone here, this is a marathon, not a sprint. The only way to succeed on the SAT is to gradually prep, to gradually work on the skills. Yes, we give you an in-person session with 3 SAT teachers. Absolutely. We have live sessions. We work with you. But that's not it. In addition to that, what happens between one session and the next also determines score growth. Students need to be working on these platforms, completing the homework in order to have that score improvement. And another reason why we like using these platforms, aside from the exorbitant amount of data that we get, we can see when students aren't working, okay? We know when they log in, we know how much time they've spent. So when parents inquire on how their students are doing, I could very easily log into Quill, send a report. If there's anyone here that has inquired with me, I could very easily send you a report and tell you how your student is doing. In addition, I do monitor Quill on a weekly basis. And when I see students haven't been active, I do reach out with the administration, which has been incredible. I do reach out to students, and I do reach out to parents. So this is a great program that not only supports reading, writing, and grammar, but also accountability, which is what a lot of this is about. Next one, SAT Mocks. SAT Mocks is one of our newest features from 2024. It is an AI-driven SAT prep solution. So yes, our core is College Board, right? But that's really not enough, because College Board difference to how they used to be, College Board used to give you a complete data report after a test. And they used to let you click onto the question, see the explanation, see the answer. They don't do that anymore. Okay. Those of you who have taken PSATs and SATs, it's very basic data. They give you the English score, they give you the math score, they give you this, small little data bar graph on which section they did better in, and that's it. We need more data than that, okay? We need sub-scores. We need cross-section scores. That's not available with Blue Book. So we have partnered with SAT Mocks, which is an incredible program. Every student gets their own account. And again, depending on their results, depending on their foundational skills, each student's SAT Mocks account does have additional support to be able to work with the SAT in the exact SAT platform design that they would with College Board. In addition, in class, we will do drills that also look like the SAT. So it's a simulated SAT experience. Full modules are available and full SATs. So I have had students reach out and say, hey, listen, I feel like I need more prep. Or I've reached out to students. Hey, listen, I think you should do a little more. SAT Mocks also offers full-length SAT tests. There's, I think, over 22 on SAT Mocks alone, in addition to the 6 available on Blue Book. So this is an incredible resource that we have invested in, and it has been incredible. And in addition to that, students also get a data report on how they're individually doing, and in comparison to the entire course. So they can kind of compare, 100% of the class got this one question wrong, 50% of the class got this one question wrong. So that kind of data also supports students and say, okay, maybe it wasn't just me, right? Again, we're very big on again, data-driven curriculum, but confidence, right? How are you feeling in comparison to your peers? So this is a fantastic program. We love it. And it has been a really big game changer when it comes to data. And again, talking about accountability, when I have parents reach out and ask me, how's my child doing in class, I can easily log into their SAT Mocks and see if work is being done. You can as well. So now SAT Mocks is an account that students have. The Quillorg is an account they have. Log into these programs with them, look at the activity, okay? And you can see. And now I'm telling you, these are activities that are expected on a daily basis. All right, so the test prep strategies for students. So we cover both foundational skills and test prep strategies. So this is very different, because if you look at Princeton Review, which is actually where I started, I worked in Princeton Review for a little over a decade before I opened NJ Test Prep. And I was hired as a 19-year-old. I had taken Princeton Review in high school, and I did very well. I actually increased my score drastically once I learned test prep strategies. And they had a recruitment program where they were taking previous students and training them as teachers. So I was 19 years old, helping students get into these Ivy League colleges. I didn't have a teaching degree. I didn't have a degree. All I was trained in SAT. I did well, but now I look back and think about it. I'm like, that's a big responsibility for someone at 19 years old. So fast forward now, I would never do that. I personally only hire teachers who have a master's degree or higher. So all of our teachers are licensed and are teachers, school counselors, professors. We have teachers with doctorates that work for us. And so we are able to do both. Give you those test prep strategies, right? Prepare you for everything the SAT has, but also if we're noticing it's not a time management thing, it's not an SAT thing, it's a foundational thing. It's, perhaps a student took geometry 3 years ago and forgot. It's perhaps that students didn't spend enough time in Algebra 1. The teacher can take a step back and now teach this foundational skill. SAT companies cannot offer that, because these teachers are not teachers. They're instructors. They're trained in SAT and SAT only. We are able to do both. And we are able to also give that analysis to parents and say, hey, listen, this isn't just an SAT thing. It looks like we're lacking skills and functions. It looks like we're lacking skills in inferencing or reading comprehension. That is very different feedback than, your child got a 400. We need much more information than that, and we're able to offer that for you. So a couple of things that we focus on. We focus on strengths and weaknesses. So we teach students, we train students to go over their own data. Okay, so what is your strength? If this is your strength, focus on that. Okay, make sure you get those questions right. Don't breeze through it. What are your weaknesses? You need more time on Quillorg. We're going to give you this exact assignment on SAT mocks to work on those weaknesses. And sometimes we have small group or private sessions with students in small group, and we say, why do you have this weakness? Like, do you just not understand this concept? What is your math history, or when did you take Algebra 1? Things of that sort. Time management. This is huge. And although the digital SAT is wonderful in that it now has a little clock instead of a human proctor, sometimes forgetting to give you that 5-minute or 10-minute warning, it's still difficult. The digital SAT has given a little more time per question. It's about 1.5 minutes now, but it's still difficult because the screen is very distracting. There's a timer, there's a highlighter, there's annotation features. There's a lot going on. And so time management is something that some students struggle with, especially in the reading section. A lot of the feedback I get from students is, I reread, but I'm not really grasping what's going on. So we do ask students a lot of those questions. Did you finish this on time? And we'll give assignments specifically with the goal of, I need you to time yourself. And a lot of students struggle with this because I think it's just a matter of perhaps, not understanding the severity of it. But when we assign a full-length test or a full module, they need to sit there for the entire time, because then the data is skewed. If you do half of it on Saturday and half of it on Sunday, okay, perhaps that tells us where you are in skill. That doesn't tell us where you are in time management. So it is really important that we get buy-in from students, and we get full support from everyone at home, that when assignments are asked to be timed, when full-length tests are taken, that they really do it all in one sitting, because then we know how to support them with time management. Because you could know everything. You could be wonderful at reading, wonderful at grammar, wonderful at math, but if it takes you double the amount of time, you're not going to get this test done. And they are very strict with time. Process of elimination. Process of elimination for the SAT is a skill. This test is very different than you would take in high school, because the SAT is created to trick you, okay? There are questions that are very similar. There are questions that are extreme. There are questions that, something as simple as active voice versus passive voice. The SAT does not like passive voice. The simpler the answer choice, the better. That they're always going to go that route. So things like that, you just learned that tonight. You didn't know that. We go over that with students. We teach them how to eliminate. We teach them how to plug in the math section. When you have an algebra question, plug in the answer choice into the question, and that will help you eliminate at least half of the questions, or one of the answer choices. Things of that sort. So this is another great asset of training that we offer. And then build their confidence. This is a feature that is very personal for me, because I am a school administrator at the district level, and I have been working with high school students for over 15 years. And one of the things that I've noticed is some of the smartest students are really insecure, really scared. There's a lot of fear and stress going on with students at this age, right? They're playing sports, they're in AP, they want to make their parents happy, they want to make their teachers happy, they're overwhelmed. So I could be drilling all of these academics, but where are they here? Where are they here? So we're very big on building confidence. And one of the things that I always train my teachers with is compliment students. Don't just say you did this wrong. Start with what, kind of like a sandwich, right? Start with what they did right, explain to them what their weaknesses are, and close it with what they could do next, and any good decision that they made. We're very big on building confidence. We're very big on seeing where students are feeling. Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling overwhelmed? And that is just as important as, A equals MC squared. Like, all that stuff is just as important for us. And my teachers are trained to think that way as well. All right, so the DSAT breakdown. What changed when the SAT became digital? A lot, a whole lot. So I want to go ahead and share this video with you. I think it's very informative and very helpful. So I'm going to switch my screens. Give me 1 second. And Tony, if you can give me a thumbs up if it could be heard. All right, here we go.
Hi, I'm Priscilla Rodriguez, and I lead the SAT team at College Board. At a time when many colleges have made submitting a test score optional, we want the SAT to be the best possible option for students. That's why, beginning in 2023, we will offer the SAT suite of assessments digitally. When students take the digital SAT, it won't simply be a digital version of the current paper and pencil test. It will be a better, more flexible test that's easier to take, easier to give, more secure, and more relevant. So let's talk about what's not changing. The digital SAT will still measure the knowledge and skills that students are learning in high school and that matter most for college and career readiness. Scores will still be on a 1,600-point scale, and students will continue to take the test at school or at a test center, not at home. Every student will still have access to free practice resources on Khan Academy, and the test will continue to connect students directly to important scholarship opportunities. So what is changing and when? The digital SAT will be offered internationally first in March of 2023, and then in the US in March of 2024. And all PSAT assessments will be administered digitally starting in the fall of 2023. So here is what is changing. Students will take the test on a laptop or a tablet, where they already do a lot of their learning. The test will be shorter, going from 3 hours to 2. And reading passages will be shorter, and math questions will be less wordy. Students will be able to use calculators on the entire math section, and scores will be delivered in days instead of weeks. And to serve even more students, SAT score reports will also connect students to information on local two-year colleges and workforce training programs. We've already begun piloting the new test with students, both in US and international test centers, to hear what they think about these changes. Here's what students who participated in the recent pilot had to say.
I guess one of the single biggest improvements with the digital SAT version would be how the questions are formatted.
It was shorter, it made sense, it got straight to the point, and we were able to answer the questions, analyze and answer the questions.
On the pilot SAT, check-in was way easier.
Having it online digitally is more convenient. You can easily switch between the questions, and all the tools are provided, like a calculator is built in.
Everything was already downloaded and ready to go, as soon as you walked in the door.
It tells you where everything is, where the calculator is, where the sheet is for formulas.
There's a little clock in the corner that you can always refer to. You know exactly how much time you have left, and you can better manage your time.
SAT was much shorter, and the questions were a lot more concise and straightforward.
As we take the test digital, we've been really focused on students' access to technology. Students will be able to use their own device or a device from their school. But if a student doesn't have a device, we'll provide one on test day. And if your Wi-Fi drops or your computer dies during the test, we've designed the digital SAT so you can just plug back in, reconnect, and you won't lose any time or work. But you might be wondering, why does the SAT matter at all if it's now optional at most colleges? First, most students say they want the option to submit their scores to colleges. That's because the SAT continues to open doors for students of all backgrounds. I know firsthand because I was one of those students. As a daughter of immigrants, the SAT gave me access to colleges, scholarships, and educational opportunities I never would have had access to or even known about. And that is true for so many students. In fact, in the class of 2020, nearly 1.7 million students had SAT scores that would strengthen their college application. And among those 1.7 million students, more than 300,000 were from small towns and rural communities, 600,000 were first generation, and more than 700,000 were African American and Latino. The SAT continues to play a vital role in college admission. Today, there are 25,000 high schools in the US, and colleges can't possibly know each of those high schools and every student in them. And grading policies can vary at these different high schools. In 2021, 55% of US students graduated high school with an A average or better. So to consider every student fairly, colleges look at much more than just grades. Yet other parts of college applications, things like clubs, sports, and academic activities, can be costly and inaccessible for many families. The SAT, by contrast, is widely available to millions of students to help them stand out on their applications. And most students take the SAT for free in their school during the school day. We're working to ensure the SAT will continue to open doors for even more students. Students take the SAT to show what they know and what they can do, and to be seen by colleges. The digital SAT will be an even better way for them to do just that. To learn.
All right, I will take us quickly back to our presentation. I personally really love that video. I think it's very well done and very informative for a slew of reasons. But one of the biggest reasons is the test optional. A lot of students, a lot of families are confused with test optional. And aside from the fact that a lot of colleges are moving away from test optional, it does harm the student. It has harmed the student more than not to not submit SAT scores, because they do stand out when they with their scores. So it's really important to really give the SAT a shot. So again, as mentioned in the video, what's the difference? Shorter testing time, shorter passages, less questions, adaptive testing. That's really the big one that confuses students. So adaptive testing, what does that look like? They take module 1. Okay, they take the first reading section, the first math section. Depending on how they do in module 1, the test adapts to that student's level. Now, there's a couple of rumors going around, right? Where a lot of students are like, let's just do really poorly in module 1, so we'll get an easy module 2, and then we'll get a set score. Don't do that. That's a really poor decision to make, because you are already setting yourself up to not get the highest score. So our advice is do your best in module 1, even if you get the more difficult version of module 2. That's not a bad thing. That means, way to go. You got yourself the harder module 2. That means you're capable. It's going to be hard. A lot of students, the feedback I got from March when I sent out a survey to families is a small sense of defeat. Like, wow, that was really hard. But you got yourself to that harder section. And now that you are going to take the data analysis course with us, now you can give us that feedback and say, hey, this was hard, that was hard, and we can work with you. So please, by all means, do your best in module 1. And then depending on how you do with that, that's how you do on module 2. But they are very similar in what they types of questions that are in it. What increases is the level of difficulty. All right, so the student experience. So we're not only prepared academically, but we're also mentally fit to take a standardized test. First thing is our main platform is Google Classroom. So we are an education company. We're built of teachers, professors, and school counselors that are well-versed in the Google Educator program. So Google Classroom is what we do to organize all of our materials, course materials, course schedule, the link, the uploading of work. Again, for accountability, you have to upload your homework. You have to upload your score report. When I get that feedback from parents, hey, how's my son or daughter doing? No problem. Log into Google Classroom. This is where they are. If parents want to join Google Classroom or want any more feedback, please let me know and we can help you do that. The administrators are also part of Google Classroom. The counselors are part of Google Classroom. So they also know what's going on. So there's, again, the accountability. When students understand that they're being monitored because we care, we really we do it for the reason of getting that work done so that we can get that progress. And if anyone here wants to take a quick tour of any of our Google Classrooms, let me know. I can present that later on. All right, and just to kind of wrap it up, is one of my favorite quotes. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Again, we are an academic company, we are an academic program, but we are very big on the social emotional approach of presenting the SAT. And I was very proud that one of our first courses, if not our first course with HCST in the fall. This was one of the students' Google reviews. I don't know if you have checked us out on Google Business. We do have 5 stars on Google Business. This is one of our reviews from an HCST senior. She said, the SAT prep courses really made a great difference in my ability to take the SAT. My test taking skills improved, and I felt a lot more confident and relaxed when the test was in front of me. Usually I feel stressed or anxious because I'm not prepared for what I'll be tested on. However, this time I knew the essential steps I had to take to flow my way through the test. Thanks to Tiana Vasquez, Judy Batista, Vanessa Trinidad, those are the teachers that were in that course. Without them, I wouldn't have had the courage to take the SAT. This review meant a lot to me because of all of the feeling words that were in it. She felt stressed. She felt anxious. But we were able to give her courage by training her with the essential steps. So this meant a lot to me. And this is exactly who we are as a company. So one of your own gave us this review. So please know, if stress and anxiety are one of the factors that kind of holds your child back, you're in the right hands, because we are fully aware of that. You know, there are some instructors, some companies that are just hyper focused on the academics of it all, and we like to balance both of them. Okay, so I would love to hear your digital SAT thoughts. So any questions, concerns, or compliments, please go ahead and send them over, and I would love to answer that.
We only have a few people live with us, so I don't know if we're going to get too many questions. Why don't you quickly end with the difference between the 2 courses that we're going to offer?
Absolutely. So again, I'm going to present one once more because I'm a visual learner. So we're going to go ahead and go over the differences in the courses directly at the core of it all, which is the Google Classroom. So here you can see our digital SAT introductory course. Okay. And I'm going to give you an example. This is what it would look like, right? And this is an example of the math curriculum. Oh, I guess I didn't post that one. I'm going to go ahead and look at the, here we go. So this is an example of the curriculum. So for the post data course, the curriculum is very different, right? How to read an SAT score report. So that's immediately how we start. We jump right into your score report. How did you do? How did you feel? How, you know, what does this mean? What does that category mean? So immediately we jump into data. We go into the score report. And then we also train students in this course in Desmos. So Desmos is the calculator that is provided by the SAT. Now, you are allowed to bring your own calculator, but they also offer a calculator. We recommend using both. Number 1, use your calculator because you're used to that. Number 2, use the Desmos calculator because there's a reason why it's there. We train you on how to use the Desmos calculator. This skill is briefly done in the introductory course, but really goes in depth in the data analysis course, because that's when we can see foundational skills. And our data proved that there's about 33 questions on the math section that could be answered correctly using the Desmos calendar. So we do go over it. We do train you. We use all of these different platforms, Khan Academy, SAT Mocks. And as you can see here, we have planned a complete Blue Book test using directly with College Board for these students to go over. Now, our introductory course is a little different. Our introductory course definitely does start with you know, the foundation of the test. You know, what is the SAT? What are the different parts of the SAT? Where we do something called a question audit at the beginning of the course, so that students kind of get like a tour of what's going on. We do a lot of drills at the beginning just to get data, to see where students are starting, and then we can work with them. So participation is really needed in all of these courses. And both courses are very important, but they are very different. You've got your introduction course to show you, give you a tour of the test, see what you know, what you don't know, how you can improve, a plan on how to improve. A lot of effort is needed in the introductory course because There's only so much I could do when I'm teaching. If you don't work, I can't help you. The more data I have from students, the more work they do, the more I can support them and give them that curated guide in the introductory course. The data analysis course, as you can see, is very niche. Okay, that's why it's a smaller course. That's when we specifically say, okay, this is where you've been struggling. You struggled here with us in the March course. You displayed improvement in the March SAT. This is exactly what you have to do to reach that score. So I'm super excited for both. We've been offering both courses for years. Data analysis is one of my favorites just because I'm a data guru just to begin with. But they are very different courses. Both of them do have a lot of expectations. Both of them do have a lot of homework, and both of them do expect class participation. We take polls throughout for attendance and for participation purposes. So a lot of students maybe think that they can just come at the beginning and not pay attention, but if you don't participate in polls throughout, you are considered absent. And so it is really, really important that students remain present and active for their own good, not even for, I caught you kind of way, for their own good. It's really important that they are present from the beginning to the end of the course. And we are always available to be communicated with, either via Google Classroom or email or phone call. So please, by all means, do that. Reach out to us. But both courses will be starting next week. Both courses will be offering full-length tests via Blue Book and everything that we offer on SAT mocks. So any questions based off that?
One question that just came in was, when is the registration? That's a good question, which I was going to mention. Registration emails will go to all students tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning. Okay. So there's going to be two separate links, one for the data review course, which we called SAT data review course. That course is designed for students who took the prep course already, took the March SAT, are planning to take the June SAT, and want to see their score improve. The other course that we have is going to be the SAT prep class, and that is open to all HCST juniors who are looking to take the June SAT. In order to get into the data review course, the signups will be limited to anyone who took the class in the winter. Okay, so if your email was not registered for the data review course, if you just think you're signing up for that one, right, that's a mistake. If you didn't take the class to begin with, you need to be taking the SAT prep class. So both of those emails will go out with the links to the respective students tomorrow, 8:30 in the morning. So have your student look out for it. And unless you guys have anything else you want to add, I think we can wrap it up there. Yeah. All right. So thank you guys all for tuning in live. For the few people that were able to make it, great. Oh, schedule the data review class, I believe, is Monday nights from 7:30 to 9:30. And the SAT prep course, the full course, is going to be Thursday nights from 7:30 to 9:30. So they both start next week. So if it's a Monday, that's April 15th, 22nd, 29th, 6th, 13th, and 20th to get ready for the June 1st SAT. Okay. Thursday nights are going to be April 18th, the 25th, May 2nd, 9, 16, and then we're going to skip the 23rd because that's Memorial Day weekend, all right, and then go right to the 30th, and then finish with the June SAT on June 1st. Okay, so only one choice for your class, depending on which class you qualify for. So hopefully you can make it. Again, the space is limited, so if you can't make it, if you think, oh, I can only come to one or two classes, maybe it's not worth it for you to sign up for this time, and save that spot for somebody who can make it to all the classes. And with that, I think we can wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Again, this recording is going to be on YouTube for anybody who didn't make it live. But for anybody that did, again, students will get the email tomorrow morning, 8:30 in the morning. All right, everyone, have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody.
Adriana. Thank you, Adriana.
Bye.
We'll see you next time.
See you.